I think I'm already live. আমি এটা বলতে বলতে হঠাৎ করে দেখলাম যে আমার ভিডিওটা অফ হয়েছে, and that is a great sign because আমি বলেছি না কতই রঙ্গ দেখি দুনিয়ায় আমরা করছিলাম. So it is very much like the scenario of এ গান বন্ধ, it's like that. So in the introductory song, that's why I started with a folk baul song, with a lot of relationship to the entrepreneurship process. Now, we talked about a great thing today, stakeholder mapping, who are your primary and secondary stakeholders. And, you have three approaches I talked about. The iceberg approach, where at the top you are having the shareholders. People are looking at it from the external perspective that these are the shareholders. You are making a lot of profit, but inside, underneath all of this, you have your stakeholders or the many actors who are actually playing. Because the society you have, the communities you have, special interest groups you have, so all these people are working together, and then you are seeing from the external point of view only the shareholder approach, only the profit approach. But we look at the wholesome approach. We are having the farm, the primary stakeholders, and the secondary stakeholders. But suddenly, when we talked about how you manage these people, so I talked about the greed. The moment I talked about the illusion and the greed, suddenly it stopped. That is precisely the reason you should keep it in mind, that it's about the illusion. Somebody who is not having influence or power, if that person is telling you that he or she has influence or power, then you are making the wrong decisions, right? If they don't have any level of interest in your project or business, but they are projecting that they are having a lot of interest, and they are having a low interest, but they are low level of interest in your project or business, but they are showing that they are having a high level of interest. But so your entire decision making gets distorted. That's what I talked about. And again, I will show you the grid I just completed. But suddenly, as I was talking about it, I was in a flow state, and I saw that the stream had stopped. But I can only sing in reply to that entire scenario. যে কতই রঙ্গ দেখি দুনিয়ায়, ও ভাই রে, ও ভাই কতই রঙ্গ দেখি দুনিয়ায়. Same thing in a different way. we should celebrate today because I just played it again and the same thing, because যখন আমরা একটা মাতালকে দেখছি, একটা মাতাল অ্যাবিউজার যখন থাকছে, তাকে যখন প্রজেক্ট করা হচ্ছে একটা সাধু হিসাবে, তখন কি হয়, দ্যাট মাতাল ইজ অলওয়েজ ফোকাসড অন একটা মদের বোতল বিক্রি করা বা এইসব ব্যাপার, ঠিক আছে? বাট যখন সাধু হিসাবে যখন উই আর মেকিং দ্যাট মিস্টেক্স, সো উই আর টেকিং আ লট অফ রং ডিসিশনস. So it is very much like that, and I will tell you what I was explaining. Suddenly it stopped, but I will continue today's session, maybe another half an hour, but you will realize what I am talking about. I have discussed in detail, but suddenly it stopped. So সেই কতই রঙ্গ দেখি দুনিয়ার মতো. If you can see the screen, if you can see my screen, whether it's visible or not, let me just check. Yeah. So if you can see the screen, I was discussing this. In the right section you have, I'll just finish it. In the right part you have the tip of the iceberg where you have the shareholders, and you are actually, hello, hello, perfect, hello, hello, yes, okay. So in the right part you are seeing the shareholder, who you can see from the external point of view. You can see the shareholder, you can look at the profit maximization, whether the business is making profit or not. You can look at the financial condition of the business, but underneath that you have the stakeholders and many other actors playing in that. So you have the society, you have the special interest group, you have your employees, and you have different people, customers, who are your primary and secondary stakeholders. Now how you map them in different stakeholders approach, depending on your priorities and all. The first, at the core, if you come back to the left side of the picture, at the firm and the core, you have your firm at your like central position as your core. Then you have your primary stakeholders, who are your financiers, who are providing you the capital, financial capital, suppliers, raw materials. You're having inbound logistics, you are getting suppliers are providing you raw materials and other things. Intermediate processes jonno je materials gulo amar lagbe, they are providing. And we have the local communities jara amake bibhinno bhabe সাহায্য করছে, either professionally or in other ways, socially. Employees jara ache, jara actually operating level, they are working on that business, they are actually manufacturing or providing that service, and they are actually making it happen. Those are the employees. And then we have the customers, who we are catering to, customers who are paying for it, who are actually buying that thing. It might be through money, it might be through time and energy, whatever it is. You are providing some asset, you are giving something in exchange. So those are your primary stakeholders. Now you have your secondary stakeholders, right? You have your media, you have the competitor. We talked about the 5 forces who are acting, government policies and regulations. You have NGOs, you have social entrepreneurship. If you talk about, you have to think about the NGOs and all. Union leaders, your trade union leaders, you do collective bargaining and all that stuff. So there you need the trade unions, you need the consumer advocate groups and all. But I talked about one thing again and again. I was telling, if you look at it in a proper way, where everything is right, then you can take the decision based on this level of interest in the project of your stakeholder and the power or influence he or she can have. When this is low and low, actually I'm talking of first I'm talking about the actual thing first, then I will talk about the misinformation or the misconception. When the level of interest in the project is low and influence or power is low, you just monitor, minimum effort, just monitor. When the level of interest in the project is high and the power is low, you just keep them informed, don't do much. It's like resource allocation I was talking about, because it's like allocating your time and energy, prioritizing the thing. So it is about resource allocation, time management, whatever it is, those things. When your influence and power is high and level of interest in the project is low, you just keep them satisfied. Now, when you have the influence and power high, as well as you have the level of interest in the project very high, you manage closely, you engage and consult with them, right? So maximum effort, or it might be a variation, but you are taking them into consideration very seriously. Now imagine a situation jeta thik bolei ajke eta holo, because this is a part of your decision making. So as an audience, you are making the wrong decisions for a long time, As a business person, many people are making wrong decisions for a long time because of one or two people যারা আমাদের গ্রুপের মধ্যে বা সোসাইটির মধ্যে ঢুকে গেছে, and they are based on illusion, ভাওতার মার্কেটিং, because of all these reasons কেউ যেহেতু বলার নেই বা দেখিয়ে দেওয়ার নেই, so they are making the wrong decisions, taking the wrong decisions. For example, you see that I did few experimentation and it worked. তার আগে যেটা হয়েছে একদম পারফেক্টলি আজকে আমাদের সেলিব্রেট করা উচিত, because if the influencer power is low and the person is projecting it as high, then you are taking a wrong decision. You should monitor that person only if the power is low, but you are thinking the power or influence is high. You are keeping them satisfied. They are taking advantage of it. They are drinking, having fun, doing their drugs and all that stuff, but you are keeping them satisfied. It's a wastage of resources, right? If the influencer power is low and the level of interest is also low, that is the minimum. You should just monitor only. Now these people are coming in front of you, they are saying that they have interest in your project, the level of interest is very high, but actually it is not. You have to look at it objectively. So you need to test, you need to scan the environment, because you cannot waste your resources, right? So when the actual level of interest is low, you have to monitor, but they are projecting themselves that in a way that they have high level of interest in your project, so you are keeping them involved. Now they can misuse that, they can just waste your resources, time pass, time wasters, because they don't have anything to do, they don't have any vision, they don't know how to do it. They are just working as shallow disruptors, they are not creators. So you are keeping them informed, and they are doing dances, they are doing their shallow stuff and all that stuff. Similarly, when the I am talking about the level of interest in the project. When it is low, it is projecting as high, and eventually they are not limited to that. Some people might have level of interest in your project that is very high. They will tell that those projects have a low interest, so they have low interest, they will project themselves as someone having high interest, or some people having high interest or level of interest in your project. If some people really have high level of interest, they are actually caring for you genuinely, they will discard these people and they will take you into their group, and they will tell you that those people don't have high level of interest in your project. So your entire decision making process is distorted. You should have kept them informed, rather you are keeping these people informed, and that is based on an assumption or projection that is wrong, that is to misguide you. You should have monitored only, minimum effort, but you are keeping them informed. But the people you should have kept informed, you are monitoring them, minimum effort you are giving to those people. So your investment is flawed, your investment decision making is flawed. That is based on all these aspects. When the influence and power is low, you are thinking that is high, you are keeping them satisfied, whereas you should use minimum effort, you should just monitor. When the influence and power is low, you should just keep them informed when they have high level of interest, but they are projecting that they have high level of interest, they have high influence and power. What mistake you are doing, you are managing them closely, you are guiding them, you are engaging and consulting with them. Sometimes you are giving maximum effort, sometimes you are doing a lot of variation, but you are engaging and consulting with them, which is total waste, because they don't have anything to do with it. They are just disruptors. They won't create something of substantial value, they don't add value to the society, they just want to destroy the society, destroy the social fabric of it. This is one particular group or a particular force or similar kind of people. With this greed only you can learn a lot. Low becomes high, high becomes low, power in both the core aspects, horizontal or vertical, your level of interest and your influencer power, and your entire decision making process gets distorted, and you take the wrong decisions. You are taking it for a long time, and we eventually see the decadence of the society. What is the reason? The reason is behind the illusion they are creating. So in terms of decision making, this is very important. I will just go to the next whiteboard, and I will tell you about the investors, or I will tell you the different functions of business again. What are the things you should learn? Marginal utility, marginal cost, and all that stuff. But yeah, I hope you can see the screen. Yeah, you can see the screen. I will just tell you about different aspects of it. Now, entrepreneurship and family business, just let me tell you about the drivers and outcomes. In a family business, In a family business, it can be, we are talking mostly about the entrepreneurship process, but I will just briefly mention the family business also. So when we talk about the family business, it can be a family owned business. It can be a family owned and managed business. It can be a family owned and led. We can see many businesses who are owning the business, but some other people are running those business. Sometimes they are part of the board of directors. Sometimes they are part of the board of directors. So these are the terms you should know when you are talking about business. Sometimes they are part of the board of directors, but they are not actually leading the business. This is about the leading part, and this is about the managing part. So, and this is about the ownership part. Family is having the ownership of the business, and somebody else is managing the business or leading the business. And this is family owned business. There are different types. So I will just mention briefly about this. Just let me clear this, and then I'll tell. Succession planning, we have already talked about. Sometimes, in this regard, one thing you should think about, sometimes your family member may be very suitable for running the business or taking the business forward. Sometimes he or is not. Then you have to look for some other person who can assume that leadership or that management position. Then you need to do the succession planning also accordingly, right? So it's not about the name you have associated with you, it's about the capability you have with you. Otherwise your entire family business will go wrong if the person doesn't have the skill set, right? So that's why you need to understand when you are the owner and when you are the manager or when you are the leader, and that's a very important decision you should make. Otherwise your entire business will go haywire. Now, in terms of entrepreneurship, we can think about the drivers and outcomes. We can think about the drivers and outcomes. Different levels I will talk about the drivers and outcomes. One is the context level. One is the farm level. One is the family level. One is the individual level. So it's like again coming back to this. So drivers, different drivers you have, and and you have different outcomes, different ways of doing business. Drivers and outcomes you should know about, and that's a big part in entrepreneurship, right? Okay. Now I have talked about different investors. I have talked about different functions. Now I will just tell you what are the topics you should learn, especially this next part. What I am talking about is for the people who are actually figuring out which specialization you are going to take if you are studying business, right? So I had already discussed this. I will just do it in a bit more detail so that you can have more understanding of it. Session I had already discussed that, and I will end with types of investors, different types who are actually providing you the capital, who are investing in it. You so investors become a stakeholder also, right? So they are having stakes in your business. Sometimes it's very tangible, sometimes it's very intangible. Why do I say that? In terms of filmmaking also, because sometimes they are investing in your project. They might not tell you something out of your personal affiliation or personal affection, but you have to have that responsibility because they are investing something. If I don't give them the proper turn in terms of making the film, in terms of quality, in social aspects, then I am doing something wrong Now this time it is like the friends, so-called friends you have in your education group. Suppose you are doing a course, you are doing something in your life, you are doing business, you are playing something, you have a kind of friend who is actually very detrimental to the purpose of the entire thing, because their personal gratifications are more important than the group effort, or the this thing, the bigger context, if I say so. So these are like those people where you I feel like smiling because this is so much fun. They will tell you that they are promoting education, but they are the people who are actually dis taking the education in a downward spiral. So all you have to do, again the same process, again same thing in the, like the greed. I will create a greed for this also, where you just have to understand whether really they are vouching for education, or they just want to associate their name so that they can get some access, and eventually they will destroy the education system, or they will take the society towards the decadence of the society. So this is just about doing a bit more research, understanding people in a better way. Eventually, you will find that what are the mistakes you have made, how you can take the right decisions. But you will always find these kind of friends, because they will tell you that they are friends, but you will find a lot of difficulties to take them in your group, or accept them as friends in your group. But they will always tell you that they are very close to you, they are the actual friends. The moment they are doing all these things, you will understand there is a manipulation involved, and the same procedure you have to do. And in business you can understand all these things really well. So you just have to understand whether they are really interested in your business or project, or they are just projecting that high to low or low to high. Influence and power, what is the source of that influence and power? Is it authentically earned money, or it is something of gambling and other stuff? That is also high to low and low to high, different ways. And then influence and power, whether they actually have, regarding your vision, something you want to do for this country, for this nation, they don't have anything to do with it, they are working for another nation, it might be that case also. So then also they are doing a camouflage, and you are entirely taking wrong decisions based on that. Audience have done that for a long time, they are having enough of it now. Now anyways, if you make the wrong decisions, again there will be some person who will be guiding you, but gradually you will understand, because they have done it for a long time. So initially it comes like a shock, right? But when you are learning something, that thing is very important. Anyways, we will talk about the family business. What I mentioned, I don't know whether that is there or not, but I think it should be there. But I talked about family owned business, I talked about family owned and managed business, I talked about family owned and led business. So management, leadership, and I talked about, I just drew in the whiteboard. Do I have it with me? So just let me show you. I don't know whether I have you could see that or not. I will just mention briefly. I talked about two things: management, leadership, and the ownership. Sometimes you might own a business, family business, but in your board of directors or in your leadership position, you are having someone else who is more efficient to run the business, because you are thinking about this in a very constructive way, right? It's not only gambling. Gambling can be a part of it, but it is not totally gambling. So that's why that's very important. And then your manager and your leader. Dude, I already talked about management and leadership, that you manage from the left and you lead from the right. Management, you can do it in terms of planning, in terms of more organized approach and all that stuff. But when you're leading with a vision. And most importantly, for the family businesses, I will mention, if they don't have the similar kind of vision, whatever it is, depending on your family business, then you're doing a wrong. Then you're doing a mistake. If the person is not aligned with your vision or your strategy, sometimes the vision itself is flawed. So that is another issue altogether. We need to talk about that also. But if you are having a good vision and somebody else is not up to that vision, then what you need to do is you need to change your leadership or management who is more aligned with the vision. This is what you do in business. So ownership, management, leadership, family business, we can see that in many businesses. Ultimately, we want to run the business in more efficient way. Sometimes the owner itself is a leader, itself himself or herself is a manager or a leader, or sometimes it's best to have the combination. leadership, management. It's a very rare combination, but it's great to have it. One person is the owner, that person is the leader, that person is the manager. So they can take great decisions in the favor of the business, in the favor of the society, in the favor of the civilization, if I say so. But sometimes you don't find these people because they have not invested in themselves. Then what you do, you find a good manager, you find a good leader, eventually you are holding the ownership. So that you can do in family business. I talked about drivers and outcomes, different levels, context level, firm level, family level, individual level, I talked about. So different types of business, entrepreneurship I talked about, succession planning I talked about. Succession planning is also a very crucial step regarding this. Suppose you are having the ownership, your father had a great ownership, your uncle had a great ownership. Now when it comes to the next generation, you can see that the ownership is not, or the owners are not ready yet to run the business properly. So what you do, you hire a manager or a leader who can lead the business with aligned with your strategy or vision, right? So there comes the succession planning also. Sometimes you retire, you grow old, and you just look at the business from like a bird's eye view. You can be a board of directors, but some other managers are running the business for you, and they are keeping you informed. They are again the managerial decision making problems, right? When you have the ownership, you have the power. When you have the level of interest in your business, you have it high, both high and high. So what you are doing, you're engaging and consult with the person. Suppose he is 70 plus or 80 plus human being, but it started with his vision, right? So you are respecting that person, you are engaging with him, you are managing him closely if needed, you are consulting with him, you are taking his wisdom, you are asking for his blessings, whatever it is, tangible or intangible, whatever it is, his knowledge, wisdom, his blessings, everything is required. Especially in terms of Indian context, we need to respect our elders, the true elders who can guide us in many ways, who can tell us what is the right thing to do, what is the wrong thing to do. Then we take our decision in our own way, but they can become our counsel. They can give us a lot of opinions, advices, wisdom, a lot. So that is the respectful culture we had in India, and we will continue to have. We just need to educate our youth in a way, so that they can understand all these things. That is not traditional, that is not old. It never gets old. You respect someone. If you don't respect someone, you don't respect yourself. Now if the person is not worthy of respect, that's a different aspect. That is the thing you should learn. But if somebody is worthy of respect, and if you are not respecting that person, eventually you are saying you are not respecting yourself, and the smart people will always get it. Now I will just end today's session. Oh, just I just briefly mentioned different aspects of I think ethics and and you have the business ethics and communication, and I don't know where it's got stopped. So I will just do the specializations. If you want to take a specialization, what are the things or insights or knowledge base you can draw a decision from or take a decision from? That's the reason why I am doing this. So, corporate financial reporting, cost management, corporate finance. I've already briefly discussed today. You know, the accounting process, the financial statements, how you do the job can interpret. I gave you the basics of it. Then we come to organizational behavior, where we are talking about the group dynamics, hope you can listen to me. Today is a great day. So প্রথমে আমি মদ আর মাতাল দিয়ে শুরু করলাম, সে সাধু হলে কিরম হবে সেটাকে আমরা যেরকম ওই গ্রিডটা থেকে দেখতে পারি। ভেরি সিমিলারলি দেন আমি এডুকেশন দিয়ে বললাম, কেউ যদি অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইন্টারেস্টেড, লেভেল অফ ইন্টারেস্টেড ইন এডুকেশন থাকে, ইনফ্লুয়েন্স অ্যান্ড পাওয়ার, সেটা সেই কম্বিনেশনটা কি হয়, যদি সেখানে হাই অ্যান্ড লো যদি সেই অ্যাক্সেসটাই হয়ে যায় তাহলে কি হয়। নাও আমি বলবো মূর্খ, কেন এটা হচ্ছে মূর্খদের জন্য। কেন মূর্খ হলে কি হয়, ডিসরাপশন নিয়ে আমি ক্রিশ্চিয়ানশনের ডিসরাপশন বলেছিলাম। এবার ডিসরাপশনটা কোন পারপাস থেকে, কোন ফাউন্ডেশন থেকে আমি করছি, দ্যাট ইজ এ গ্রেট থিং। যে আমি বিজনেস ফাউন্ডেশন আমার আছে, নলেজটা কি, কোন সিচুয়েশনে, কোন কনটেক্সটে আই এম অ্যাকচুয়ালি ডুইং দ্য ডিসরাপশন, দ্যাট ক্যান বি ইনোভেশন। বাট যেগুলো মূর্খ, তাদের কোনো ফাউন্ডেশনই নেই, তাদের কোনো মানে বেসিক স্কিল সেট, বিজনেস এথিক্স অ্যান্ড কমিউনিকেশন আমি বারবার বলছিলাম, সেগুলো তো আমি ছেড়েই দিলাম। সেটা না হয় অনেক সময় অনেকে সেটা নিয়ে খেলা করে, বাট যারা করে তারা সোসাইটির জন্য আর কি ভাববে, কি ভাবতে পারে। আই মিন ইউ ক্যান, দিস ইজ নট রকেট সায়েন্স, ইউ ক্যান জাস্ট থিঙ্ক দ্যাট দিস ইজ এ ভেরি কমন থিং টু হ্যাপেন, যেটা হয়। তো ডিসরাপশনটা যখন হচ্ছে ডিসরাপ্টার ইন এ ভেরি ব্যাড ওয়ে, এনিথিং, মানিটা দেখিয়ে জাস্ট সমাজের থেকে যদি একটু এসকেপ পাওয়া যায়, সেইটা এতদিন ধরে করে এসছে। আরো অনেকগুলো আছে ওই ইনফ্লুয়েন্স এন্ড পাওয়ার ইন ডিফারেন্ট ওয়েজ যদি করতে পারে, সেইটাকে ধরে ইন আ ব্ল্যাকমেলিং অ্যাপ্রোচ, মানে ইটস এ ভেরি ব্ল্যাকমেলিং ইন এ ভেরি ব্যাড ওয়ে, যেটা করে এরা করে ফেলে সবকিছুই, যেটা এরা করে তারা হচ্ছে ওই ব্ল্যাকমেলিং অ্যাপ্রোচ, মানে এটা না করলে এটা, কুইট প্রো কো এরকম একটা। বাট মূর্খমিটা হচ্ছে একটা এভিডেন্ট, মানে মূর্খামিটা ইউ ক্যান সি ইট ফ্রম হেয়ার। ওরা ভাবছে এই করে হয়তো পার পেয়ে গেল, এই করে হলো, ওখানে ওই কনটেক্সটা, সিচুয়েশন, পিপল না দেখে যাকে ভালোবাসা দেওয়ার দরকার তাকে দেবে অত্যাচার, যাকে অত্যাচার মানে যাকে শাসন ব্যবস্থা করে ডিসিপ্লিন করা দরকার তাকে মানে ওপরে তুলে দেবে, যাতে সে সমাজটাকে নুইসেন্স করে, আরো সোসাইটিটাকে, সোশ্যাল ফ্যাব্রিকটাকে নষ্ট করে। সো এই মূর্খামির একটা পরিচয়, কিন্তু সেটা যখন ওই লো হাই, হাই লো থেকে ওই যেটা বললাম ওই গ্রিডটা অনুযায়ী ডিসিশন মেকিংটা যখন ডিস্টর্টেড হয়ে যায়, পুরো এন্টায়ার সোসাইটি টেক রং ডিসিশনস, ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালি তো আমরা রং ডিসিশনস নিই, এটাই। নাও আই উইল জাস্ট come to the thing I started with, but it's great that it happened so that you can understand what I am talking about. And আমরা কর্পোরেট ফিনান্সিয়াল রিপোর্টিং অ্যান্ড অ্যানালিসিস বলেছি, কস্ট ম্যানেজমেন্ট বলেছি, কর্পোরেট ফিনান্স বলেছি, একটু অ্যাকাউন্টেন্সির বেসিক বলেছি, কস্ট বলেছি, প্রফিট বলেছি, রেভিনিউ বলেছি, ব্রেক ইভেনটাও একটু বললাম, অর্গানাইজেশন অ্যান্ড বিহেভিয়ার বলেছি আমি, ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল গ্রুপ তাদের মধ্যে ইন্টারাকশন বলেছি, তাদের মধ্যে ইন্টারাকশনটা কিভাবে হচ্ছে, তাদের মধ্যে আমাদের তারা একসাথে টিম এফার্ট বা টিম স্পিরিটে কিভাবে কাজ করছে, সেটা একটা ব্যাপার থাকছে। আবার যখন আমি দেখছি যে মার্কেটিং, আমি বললাম মার্কেটিং ম্যানেজমেন্টের একটা আছে, প্রিন্সিপালস অফ মার্কেটিং হয়, মার্কেটিং ম্যানেজমেন্ট হয়, প্রিন্সিপালস অফ মার্কেটিং নিয়ে আমি কথা বলবো, সেখানে আমি প্রিন্সিপালস অফ মার্কেটিং নিয়ে কথা বলছি। তারপরে হাউ আই এম ম্যানেজিং দ্য মার্কেটিং প্রসেস, অনেকটা ওভারল্যাপ আছে, বাট ওই প্রিন্সিপালসটা যদি থাকে তাহলে যতই আমি ম্যানেজমেন্ট করি না কেন, ইট ডাজন্ট ম্যাটার। ঠিক আছে, এটা একটা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট জিনিস যেটা আমাদের মাথায় রাখতে হবে। তার এটা বলবো হচ্ছে আমাদের অপারেশনস ম্যানেজমেন্ট, যেখানে আমাদের স্ট্যাটিস্টিক্স খুব কাজে লাগছে। আমি লিনিয়ার প্রোগ্রামিং একটু মেনশন করেছিলাম, সেটা আছে। আমরা বলবো ইকোনমিক্স এর কথা, যেখানে মাইক্রো ইকোনমিক্সটা আমাদের খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট একটা ব্যাপার। ইন্ডিয়া অ্যান্ড দ্য গ্লোবাল, মানে গ্লোবাল সিনারিওটা যদি হয়, সেখানে ইন্ডিয়া কোন জায়গাটায় রয়েছে, তার জন্য আমার ইন্ডিয়া অ্যান্ড দ্য ওয়ার্ল্ড ইকোনমি বুঝতে হবে। আমাদের ওয়ার্ল্ড ইকোনমিক ফোরাম থেকে অনেক লেকচার্স আমরা শুনতে পারি, সেখান থেকে কানেকশন, মানে ইনফরমেশন গ্যাদার করতে পারি। তাদের অ্যানালিসিস রিপোর্টস থাকে, যেখানে তারা আমরা নিজেদের নলেজ আমরা এত করতে পারি যে উই ক্যান অ্যাকচুয়ালি ভেরিফাই দ্যাট অ্যানালিসিস অলসো, রাইট, ডিপেন্ডিং অন ডেটা। অনেক সময় প্রাইমারি ডেটা, সেকেন্ডারি ডেটা, এগুলো নিয়ে আমি কথা বলবো, সেটা অনেক সময় ম্যাটার করে। বাট অনেক সময় যদি আমাদের সেই মানে এক্সপার্টিজ বা ফোর্টে যদি আমি বলি, কোনো সাবজেক্টে যদি আমাদের থাকে, that we can actually challenge, or we can actually evaluate whether the data or the way or the process is right or not. ঠিক আছে, but before that you need to acquire a lot of knowledge and wholesome knowledge, because if you are learning only about finance, only about economics, only about marketing, then you miss out the big picture. Rather, that's why I am doing these sessions. If you understand the entire business scenario really well, if you understand the business context really well, and you understand what this marketing function is going to do to your business, what is the finance function going to do to your business, what is the HRM, human resource management, is going to do for your business, Then you understand the big picture strategy, how you are translating your vision to the action plan, how you are delegating those that action plan to the human resources so that they can carry it out efficiently. That is also an art. So you are managing, you are leading at the same time, right? So all these things you need to know. And then when we talk about your information technology and systems, then you do the management information systems. That is very helpful in marketing, that is very helpful in business analytics, data warehousing, artificial intelligence, data mining, and all that stuff, big data. We talked about all these things. Then Indian economic and political history, one thing you should learn, how the evolution happened in terms of Indian economy. For example, PV Narasimha Rao's পরে ইকোনমিটা খুলে দেওয়ার পরে অনেক foreign investments এসছে. Do you know about that history? Then you will learn about embargo, international marketing, international business, forex exchange, and all that stuff. তাহলে কি হচ্ছে, you have a wholesome view of the business. Then maybe you are focusing on a particular specialization. It can be HRM, it can be marketing, it can be finance, but you are understanding how the evolution happened in Indian economy, what the East India Company did to the Indian economy, what the other invasions did to the Indian economy, and how you can take it forward. What is the current scenario? What is your vision to take it forward? Then you need to learn about the fiscal policy, monetary policy, how these policies are working together to, to build the economy, to nourish the economy, if I say. Then you need to know about inflation, recession, how you are going to tackle all these economical scenarios in terms of taking your business forward as well as the economy forward. So that's a very wholesome approach. You are not thinking about, again, I will come back to that same thing, personal gratification and entire economy, your entire nation that is progressing or getting nourished because of your business. You are providing job opportunities to employ. In a way, the culture you are creating in the organization that is shaping their lives, the lives of their families, their economical life, their financial life, their spiritual, cultural life. Every way you can contribute with a good business, right? So that's why we do the corporate social responsibility and all that stuff. But you are thinking about profit maximization, it's fine, but you are also thinking about what is the value innovation you are doing, what is the value add you are doing, how you are innovating, experimenting, you are taking the nation forward, taking the business forward. So that is the approach we are talking about. And then your environment, as I said, the corporate social responsibility, how you contribute to the environment, right? Your social responsibility, your responsibility as a citizen, as a member of the civilization of the human race. You are looking at global warming, how you can contribute to the global warming phenomenon. So you can do that. You need to understand the legal system, as I talked about the secondary stakeholders, the policies and regulations you have, Indian legal system, global legal system, if you want to do a global business, Indian social structure, social sciences, how the stakeholders are work together. It's a force. Then you have to go back to the Porter's 5 forces, how they are acting together to help your business, or maybe to help you compete in that business scenario. But one thing we miss out, I will mention again and again, one thing we miss out nowadays, people don't talk much about the business communication or corporate communication, a very crucial step. Because in any aspect, you can think about the governance of like the government sector, you can talk about the private sector, communication is a very important thing. You might come up with great policies and regulation, you might come up with great strategic planning, action planning, whatever it is, different things. You can come up with tactics, you can come up with strategies, different aspects of the business. But if you cannot communicate it to the people you are working with, your human capital, then you are missing out a lot. So how you convey in like through different levels of the business hierarchy, top and bottom, and throughout, bottom to top, top to bottom, how you are conveying that strategic plan, that action plan, that tactical plan to different levels of your business to get it done. সবাইকে তো সব রকম ইনফরমেশন দেওয়া যায় না, যার জন্য আজকে আমরা যার জন্য এই যে ইআরপি যে এটা তৈরি হয়, সেখানে আমরা অনেক সময় কি করি, ইফ ইউ লুক এট মাল্টিন্যাশনাল কর্পোরেশনস, ইউ উইল আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড হায়ার লেভেলে কিছু সেন্সিটিভ ইনফরমেশন থাকে দ্যাট উই ক্যানট শেয়ার উইথ দ্য অপারেশনাল এমপ্লয়িজ, দ্যাট ইজ ফর something to be respected. That secrecy or discreetness is to be respected. Now we are conveying in terms of leadership, in terms of management to the operational level, right? So that they can take the decisions. Sometimes we are telling them a bit more so that they can go the extra mile, they can contribute more to the business scenario. But there are very few sensitive information you cannot tell it to the operational level employees, because sometimes they don't have the ethics, they don't have the personality developed yet, they don't have the managerial skills, they don't have many business ethics, business skill set, so that they might divulge that information to the competitors, they might divulge the information to the other people, or maybe they are diluting essence of something very significant. So that is why you need to understand business ethics, business communication, and all that stuff. Then you come to the functional part. You choose finance, either you choose marketing, it doesn't matter, but you are focusing on your the thing you like to do. You might be a management consultant, you might be a strategic consultant, you might be a financial consultant, you might be ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ব্যাংকিং ব্রোকারেজে খুব আছে, মিউচুয়াল ফান্ডে খুব আছে, এটার নেসেসিটি, পোর্টফোলিও ম্যানেজমেন্টে খুব আছে, স্টক মার্কেটে হাউ ইউ আর লুকিং এট দ্য স্টক মার্কেট, অ্যানালিটিক্যাল স্কিলস, ক্রিটিক্যাল থিঙ্কিং খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট. So you can take a finance specialization and you can choose 3 or 4 or several specializations, and you can focus on these aspects, but you know how the financial function is working in the working in the business. Then you might choose international marketing, you might choose sales and distribution, you might choose marketing research and analytics, decision making models. But eventually you are knowing what is the principle of marketing, what is the marketing management. Then you are choosing some specialization. Then human resource management, you might be having a specialization on group behavior and dynamics, you might be having a specialization on human resource development, HRD. You might have a relationship specialization on international human resource management, IHRM. You might have a specialization on HRP, human resource planning, depending on the role you are playing. So it's about role play also, but you need to have an overall view of that entire business. That's modern business scenario. You go to any Ivy League, you go to any premier institutions, you go to any great academic research journals and the publications, and where people are talking about, they will always talk about one thing, that you cannot miss out the strategic aspect anymore. Even if you are a part of the financial function, even if you are part of the human resource function, even if you are part of the marketing function, or the data analytics, or the operations and product management, whatever it is, you cannot ignore the strategic aspect of the business. At least you know the vision of the company, how it is moving forward. You can read the white papers, you can read the statements in a way, or the analysis of the statements, how they are progressing, the growth, the capturing of market share, and other things you can look at. But you have some strategic level understanding, business level, business unit understanding, depending on your intensity, you are having different kinds of understandings, but you know a bit of it, not only related to the functional aspect. Then you can do great business. I will just end today with one thing, that is the type of investors we have, and a business model canvas আমি আজকে বললাম না, but আমি আজকে আমি দেখালাম না আর, but কালকে বা নেক্সট ডে, আই থিঙ্ক 4th আমাদের নেক্সট এপিসোড আছে, I will talk about business partners, partners বলছি, business model canvas. বিজনেস মডেল ক্যানভাসটা হচ্ছে এমন একটা ক্যানভাস যেখানে আই এম পুটিং টু দ্য ডিফারেন্ট অ্যাসপেক্টস অফ দ্য বিজনেস অর স্টেক হোল্ডার্স যদি আমি বলি, সেটা রিপ্রেজেন্টেশন, আবার রিসোর্সেস রিপ্রেজেন্টেশন, এরকম একটা মিক্স অ্যান্ড ম্যাচ করে একটা প্রসেস। এবার সেটাই আমরা কি করছি অ্যাকচুয়ালি, আমার কি পার্টনার্স কি আছে, রিসোর্সেস কি আছে, এইগুলো আমরা দেখছি। তারপরে আমরা দেখছি আমাদের কস্ট ম্যানেজমেন্টটা কিভাবে হচ্ছে, দ্যাট আই স্টার্টেড উইথ টুডে। কস্টের অ্যাসপেক্ট গুলো কি হচ্ছে, আমার ফিক্সড কস্ট, ভ্যারিয়েবল কস্ট, আদার কাইন্ডস অফ কস্ট, সেগুলো আমরা কিভাবে ম্যানেজ করছি। রেভিনিউ স্ট্রিমটা আমার কি আছে, রেভিনিউটা আমি কিভাবে দেখছি, তাহলে কস্টটা আমার ইনপুটে যাচ্ছে, প্রসেসের মধ্যে ইনপুট র মেটেরিয়ালস, ইনবাউন্ড লজিস্টিক্স, এগুলোর মধ্যে যাচ্ছে, আমি দেখছি সেখানে আমার রেভিনিউটা কিভাবে আসছে, ক্যাশ ফ্লোটা কিভাবে আসছে, সেটা আমি দেখছি। আমি দেখছি আমার পার্টনারশিপটা আমার কি উইথ দ্য স্টেক হোল্ডার্স, স্টেক হোল্ডারের সাথে আমি কমিউনিকেট কিভাবে করছি, দ্যাট ইজ অলসো আ ভেরি গ্রেট অ্যাপ্রোচ, ইউ হ্যাভ টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড দ্যাট, যে কিভাবে সেটা হচ্ছে। তারপরে আমি দেখবো যে আই উইল সি যে আমার কি বলে কি পার্টনার্স কি আছে, রিসোর্সেস আমি কি ইউজ করছি। তো এরকম কতগুলো জিনিস নিয়ে বিজনেস মডেল ক্যানভাস লেফট সাইড আর রাইট সাইডে এটাকে রেখে আমরা একটা ওভারঅল অ্যাপ্রোচ পেতে পারি যে আমি যখন একটা বিজনেস ধরি, একটা হতে পারে আমি এক্সিস্টিং স্ক্র্যাচ থেকে করছি, বুট স্ট্র্যাপিং নিয়ে আমি কথা বলবো, আরেকটা হতে পারে আমার অলরেডি এক্সিস্টিং একটা বিজনেস আছে, ঠিক আছে? তো সেখানে যখন আমি যাচ্ছি তখন আমি দেখছি যে এখন ওই বিজনেসটা সিনারিওটা কি আছে, ওই একই জিনিস আমি দেখতে পারি যে আমার রিসোর্সেস কি আছে, পার্টনার্স কি আছে, আমি সেখানেও ওটা ম্যাপ করতে পারি। আমার কস্ট স্ট্রাকচার এখন অলরেডি এক্সিস্টিং কি আছে, আমার রেভিনিউটা আমার কিভাবে আসছে, সেটাকে আমি কিভাবে রেভিনিউটাকে একটু ইনক্রিজ করতে পারি, এগুলো সব আমি ম্যাপ করতে পারি, ঠিক আছে? সেটাকে বিজনেস মডেল ক্যানভাস বলে। আর আমার সেখানে আমি করে দেখবো যে আমার বিজনেস মডেলটা কিভাবে ফিনান্সিয়ালি দেখি, যেটা আমি শুরুতে বললাম, বাট আদার অ্যাসপেক্টস সেই ওই যে টিপ অফ দ্য আইসবার্গ আমি দেখছি শেয়ার হোল্ডার কি করছে, প্রফিট কি হচ্ছে, আর নিচে আমার এতগুলো জিনিস কাজ করছে, সেই এতগুলো জিনিস যেটা কাজ করছে সেটা ওই বিজনেস মডেল ক্যানভাসে দেওয়া আছে। Gradually, next day I will talk about the ecosystem also, because ecosystem এর একটা ইনোভেশন হচ্ছে, আরেকটা হয় বিজনেস লেভেল, ডিফারেন্ট লেভেলস অফ স্ট্র্যাটেজিজ আমি বলেছিলাম। কর্পোরেট লেভেল স্ট্র্যাটেজিজ যখন আছে, তখন ইকোসিস্টেম লেভেলের একটা ইনোভেশন হয়। তো সেটা কতটা ডিফারেন্ট এবং কিভাবে আমি আস্তে আস্তে মাইক্রোকজম থেকে ম্যাক্রোকজমে যাব, বা একটু ছোট থেকে বড়র দিকে যাব, গিয়ে আমরা কর্পোরেট লেভেল বা ইকোসিস্টেম ওয়াইজ কিভাবে ইনোভেশন করব। আই উইল গিভ ইউ ডিফারেন্ট ম্যাপস, ডিফারেন্ট প্রসেসেস অফ ডুইং ইকোসিস্টেম ইনোভেশন। সো আমরা বিজনেস মডেল করব, we will talk about business model canvas, we will talk about how your business is going to fit in that ecosystem, that business ecosystem, so that you can look at it from a bird's eye view, as well as you can find the intricate details of the business or functions of the business. And I will end today with one thing, that is different kinds of investors. যখন আমরা অ্যাঞ্জেল ইনভেস্টার্স এর কথা বলছি, তখন ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালস, মোস্টলি ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালস, তারা নিজেদের মানিটাকে নিজেরা কাজে লাগায়। আমি বাংলাতেই বলছি, বিকজ ইউ নিড টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড, তারা নিজেদের মানিটাকেই নিজেরা কাজে লাগাচ্ছে। অনেক সময় রিস্কটা একটু বেশি হয়ে যাচ্ছে, বিকজ ইউ নিড টু পে ব্যাক। আবার ভেঞ্চার ক্যাপিটালিস্ট অনেক সময় হচ্ছে যে আমার যারা একটু গ্রুপে করছে এবং তাদের মধ্যে ডিফারেন্ট ওয়েজে তারা ডিফারেন্ট প্রসেসের মধ্যে দিয়ে ইনভেস্টমেন্টটা করে, সবসময় মানে ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল হয় না, বা যেটা চায় তারা হচ্ছে লিডারশিপ বা আমার গভর্নেন্স যেটা আছে বিজনেসে, সেটার উপর একটু শেয়ার চাইছে, ডিসিশন মেকিং চাইছে, সেরকম হয়। এবার অনেকে চায় একদম টাকা চাইতে পারে, প্রফিটের একটা পার্ট চাইতে পারে, অনেকে ইকুইটির একটা পার্ট চাইতে পারে, ডিফারেন্ট ওয়েজ অফ ডুইং ইট, রাইট? সো সেখানে আমরা করতে পারি। আবার যখন আমরা বলি ব্যাংকস আমাদের একটা ইনভেস্টমেন্ট দিতে পারে, আমি রিস্কের ইকুয়েশনটা আজকে বলিনি, সেটা আমি একটু বলবো, বাট আমাদের পিয়ার টু পিয়ার লেন্ডিং হতে পারে, যেখানে আমাদের হয়তো বন্ধু লেন্ডিং